I'd like to call the May 24th, 2022 Board of Commissioners Business Meeting to order. As always, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And this evening, Officer Coulter, who is being honored this evening, will lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deanna, can you take the roll?
Denise Hall, President.
Here.
Catherine Carter, Vice President.
Here.
Martha Similaro, Commissioner. Here. Ms. McNaney, Commissioner.
Here.
Ruth Damsker, Commissioner.
Here.
Sandra Zedell, Township Manager. She's not coming.
No, she's absent.
Oh, sorry. Noted, Sandra Zedell is absent. Megan Weaver, Assistant Township Manager.
Here.
Lauren Gallagher, Township Solicitor.
Here.
Isaac Kessler, Township Engineer.
Here.
David Duffy, Chief of Police.
Here.
Nathan Crittenden, Finance Director. Here. Also noted, Van Reeker, Zoning Officer, is absent.
Thanks, Deanna. Next up, I will turn it over to Commissioner Carter.
Hello, this evening we're here to recognize Officer Harrison Coulter for 20 years of service to the Township. Officer Coulter has served 14 years as an operator for the Montgomery County Special Weapons and Tactics Team Central Region. He is one of two rapid response coordinators in the police department and trains our officers in emergency deployments to active shooters and other tactical emergencies. In this role, Officer Coulter also works with school staff, businesses, places of worship, and township residents. Officer Coulter is a member of the Montgomery County Drug Task Force. He has served for many years as a patrol shift officer in charge, acting as the shift supervisor when a sergeant is not on duty. Officer Coulter has received numerous commendations for his performance and has earned 3 meritorious service medals and 1 Medal of Valor. Again, we are recognizing Officer Coulter for 20 years of service to Upper Gwinnett Township. Congratulations.
Did you want to say a few words? You can.
Please.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. It's up to you.
I don't usually need a microphone, but I still enjoy coming to work, working here. All the things that put out in bio resume. Like I'm not a very elegant speaker, but still fun, so I enjoy it.
Get the job done.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No matter what happens, we got to get you in the picture. All right, looks good. Alrighty, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I say something?
Of course.
Officer Coulter? I've known you a long time.
Yes.
Really long time, yep. And I just shared with Officer Coulter something that I didn't realize it was you until yesterday that I found this out. So a resident lost a ring, an engagement ring or a wedding band ring over at the Norgwen baseball fields. So they filed a report, and Officer Coulter just didn't take the report, but he actually went over to the fields and looked for that ring and searched all over for it and just wasn't able to find it, but the ring was found. So that's good, so. But that just shows that you've always gone above and beyond, and we're very fortunate and lucky to have you part of our team. Sure, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming. Lauren, I'm going to turn it over to you to announce executive sessions.
Thank you, President Hull. We actually have no reportable executive sessions this evening.
Thank you. Next up is our public comment section. Thank you for registering to speak. Please remember to honor our 5-minute limit and practice decorum. And at the end of the speakers, I will ask for anyone who wasn't able to register to speak in time for the meeting to begin. So first up, we have Linda Smith from 815 McIntosh Way.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. And hello, I'm Linda Smith. I live at 815 McIntosh Way. I'm also a member of the Upper Gwynedd Republican Committee. I'm here tonight because I have a concern about the high-density housing. And as I go and meet the residents in my district, I want to make sure that I'm giving them the correct information. So I have some comments and some questions. We've lived here. We bought our house in our 20s. My husband and I raised our family here. We've renovated it when we first moved in. Now we are rebuilding it, spending about twice of what we paid for it. So I'm planning to stay here because I love Upper Gwynedd. So here I go. I don't believe, I don't think there's a need for a community that is 90 to 95% built out and who is already satisfied its requirements to provide diversified housing types from the Fair Housing Act to feel compelled to meet any agenda proclaimed by the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission or the Montgomery County Planning Commission or even Washington, D.C. The township's current high-density housing initiative isn't even supported by the survey results that were used to develop the 2040 comprehensive plan. On page 32, the plan states that the current range of housing types as developed by previous Board of Commissioners is what makes the Upper Gwynedd Township an excellent to good place to live. And more importantly, 97% of the 2040 comprehensive plan survey respondents agreed. So I don't understand why at this stage, when it's 90 to 95% built out, that the township wants to shoehorn in dense developments. Is this to meet a national agenda that will permanently alter the look of the suburbs? According to the township's own statistics in the plan, 28.8% of the entire housing stock in Upper Gwynedd is considered multifamily. And according to the statistics again, 78.2% of all the residential development in the township since 2010 has been of single-family attached or multifamily housing. This development does not include multifamily housing developments that preceded 2010, such as Gwynedd Woods, Village of Gwynedd, the Gwinnett Club, Station Square, etc. And I'm concerned about the traffic impacts. The previous Board of Commissioners spent millions in concert with a partnership with Merck to improve the Church Road, Sumneytown Pike, and West Point traffic corridors. It was a job well done. Are the township's fire company and police departments ready for this expansion of the high-density development? And finally, what will the impact be in the schools with other surrounding municipalities implementing this suggestion? I just suggest let's let Upper Gwynedd Township continue to be the community that attracted all of us to live, raise families, and to economically prosper. The construction of additional high density for the benefit of perceived or self-imposed need to satisfy a national agenda, when that agenda has already been more than satisfied by years of good planning, isn't in the interest of the township or its future. For what I understand, currently there's a plan to put high density housing off of Church Road in the middle of the industrial park. I'm wondering, how are you going to do this? And is this spot zoning?
There's not a plan for high-density housing. We don't have one.
From what I understand, the Walters Group has been already working on this, and they specialize in income-restricted housing. Is that not correct?
You asked if we had high-density, if we had a high-density initiative, if we had a high-density housing initiative off of Church Road with the Walters Group. That is not a high-density initiative. There's nothing high-density about it.
What is it then?
It's within the density requirements of the ordinances of Upper Gwinnett Township. Nothing we've changed that were well in place before we took office.
Well, what is the density then? Can you explain that to me?
I can get you the official, I don't off the top of my head have the percentages with the zoning. Van
Because
isn't
I'm
here
not sure what
tonight.
you're referencing to as far as the density used in the township.
Okay, we can get you the actual numbers of what the density is based on the zoning. There's a certain amount of density per zoned district that I don't have the number at the top of my head, so I don't want to give you the incorrect number. And Van's, of course, not here tonight.
Okay.
But we can get that for you.
Okay, yeah, I would appreciate
If you
that.
could stay after and just give us your email or your phone number, and we can call you actually tomorrow,
Okay.
or maybe even have Van call you.
To
give you the exact
I'm just
density.
confused because that's light, isn't that light industrial over there? And why would we be putting housing over in that area?
We are still at the very beginning stages of that plan, and we are still working on determining what the zoning will be for that area, based on our comprehensive plan that we, the recent one that you referenced.
So you're going to change the zoning in that area?
We are working on it based on our comprehensive plan, but we're at the very beginning stages, and we will continue to publicize it.
Okay, because that would be spot zoning then, if you're going to change
Do you
that.
have any other questions?
That is my question about the
Yes.
spot zoning.
It wouldn't, but
not
do you have
spot
any other
zoning.
questions this evening?
It is not spot zoning, but it's light industrial, so how would you change that zoning to
I can,
residential?
as I said, I'm happy to have Van call you tomorrow and explain it to you, because you have a lot of questions. You covered quite a big area,
Mhm.
and he can explain it a little bit more thoroughly to you.
Okay, that would be good, because
Okay.
I need the correct information before I talk to people. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Next up, we have Carl Smith, who also lives at 815 McIntosh Way.
Yes, hello. As you might imagine, Linda is my wife. We do live at the same location, 815 McIntosh Way. We've lived there since the early 90s. We moved out here with both of our daughters from Willow Grove. We moved here to get relief from the high taxes and all the byproducts that go with urban life. And when we came here, we had an added benefit. We seemed to connect with a community here that respected and loved traditional family values. So that it's been a good thing for us for a good many years. But lately, we've noticed a change, and that's why I'm here tonight. It seems that the leadership here in the township has transitioned. It seems like you are mirroring the leadership we're seeing nationally in Washington. And that is a leadership of top-down authoritative governance. And the byproducts that come from that are negative, oppressive, tyrannical, government overreach. An example of government overreach is something I've watched locally happen here at the corner of Allentown Road and Broad Street. You've taken the levers of power and you've pushed them onto a private citizen here in the township to extract his land against his will. You're using tools of the government, I understand that, but tools can do damage as well as do good. And you know, I know the argument has been you're trying to preserve open space and not overdevelop. But as my wife pointed out, there are plans in place to do some type of development. We may be arguing over semantics, whether it's high density or not. You've used a term with Tom that it's same density. Same density, high density, I think it's all the same in the sense that there's going to be more development. And you're telling us there isn't any development, and you're wanting to preserve land for parks and so on and so forth. So there's a lack of transparency as far as I'm concerned when it comes to this issue, along with other issues. And now I hear we're getting ready to build a new school, or how many schools, I don't know, but of course, that represents more. You're shaking your head, but let me finish. I would like to finish, please. So when you folks aren't transparent, there are rumors, and we all have learned this in life. So we're left to speculate, and sometimes the speculation is inaccurate, but a lot of times it is accurate. But regardless, in the end, there's lack of trust. So what I'm saying to you is that, you know, a lot of us moved out here and we embraced the culture and we assimilated into the culture. But this board apparently represents a different way of thinking, which is you want to change the culture into something that it wasn't. Something that none of us want, or not none of us, but some of us don't want it. So I'm here to express my opposition to that. I'm going to let you know that along with my wife, we'll be communicating this to our circle. We'll be telling people about what we know as it becomes clear of what you're doing when you allow that to happen. And then, maybe these people will become informed. And at some point, maybe you'll be held to account for the decisions that you're making on behalf of the citizens here of the township. That's all.
Thank you.
Can I just mention that as far as, I understand you're talking about schools, but I just wanted to make it clear that we as a board, we're only responsible. We do not have anything, that's your school board. So if you feel that there's an issue with the schools, I would just recommend that you would go to a school board meeting and express your dissatisfaction.
Oh, we do that too. Thank you.
If I may too, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we have something in common. I moved up here from Willow Grove too, in the early 90s. And at that point, I did not have any children. As a matter of fact, I was a teacher in Upper Moreland for years even when I lived up here. But I have a question that you brought up, and that's been brought up before. And if you could help us, Mr. Boardman, you too, how do we become more transparent? You
Well, you
accuse
can
us.
start by not doing this dance that you did with my wife here with Denise, by saying that you're looking into developing, but you're not looking into developing. We've been around. We understand nonsense when we hear it. That's nonsense.
We're gonna, but she also explained that we're gonna get you, she didn't want to misquote anything. So we will get you all that information.
No, I've been here before. I've heard how this goes. I know what I'm hearing. So you're asking the question, this is my answer.
So we can be more transparent by answering questions that we're gonna answer?
When Don Borneman asked you last time about the density of housing,
Yes.
you said it's same density, okay?
Yes.
Of what? Same as what?
As the ordinance of Upper Gwinnett Township requires. So there is a certain density. There's a certain amount of houses that may be built per acre, depending on how the area is zoned.
Right.
In the township. That's part of the ordinances that have been here before we came on board. And we have not, that is something sometimes that happens, that boards change zoning in order to increase density in certain areas. That's something that happens in townships. It's not happening in this township. We have not increased the density anywhere. And we have no plans as of right now. I don't know what the future will hold, but as of right now, and with our comprehensive plan, there were no intentions to increase the density, because that is some of the feedback that we received when we worked on the comprehensive plan with residents and volunteers, was that
Let's just cut to the
density was,
chase. Where is this development we're talking about? Is it near Penn Station on Church Road?
it's on Church Road,
Okay,
yes.
so you're talking about Suburban Square across the street. That's what we're comparing it to, correct? Or Station Square, excuse me. Is that what we're comparing it to? Is that what, see, we talk in circles here. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting at.
Right.
You're doing that now, actually.
Okay, I'm not meaning to talk
Well,
in
yes, you are. You're not
circles.
answering my question. Is that the development we're comparing it to?
Comparing it to how?
The Station Square,
Yes,
the development you're talking about doing for this density, whatever that density is across the street. Am I correct?
yes,
Okay. So when you say same density, you're talking about Station Square, correct?
No.
no, not
Okay,
necessarily.
then there's the first part of the
Well,
problem. We have
that's-
no idea what you're
That is,
talking about.
exactly. That's why our planner needs to have a
By design, I'm
conversation if
sure.
you, okay, that's your opinion, sir.
Yeah.
But we need to have a conversation with you with our planner, and we're happy to do that.
Mm.
And if you would rather come in and have a meeting about it, we could have a meeting as well. If you'd like to talk to him in person or with us, we'd be happy to be there. But I want to make sure that we have all the facts for you, because I feel like you're confused on a couple items, and I don't want to misquote you, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. I'm honestly not trying to talk in circles. I'm trying to give you the best information in the most efficient way possible. And I feel like that'll happen if we reach out to you this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Borneman, 722 Green Street.
Yes. I wanted to talk about a recent newspaper article that seemed to give credit to this current Board of Commissioners for the wisdom and planning related to the recently completed sewer diversion project. While it is true that the project was built largely under the board's watch, the truth is that the board had little to do with the creative thinking, planning, and design that went into this project, resulting in rendering Upper Gwynedd Township completely independent in its ability to economically treat wastewater in the township for years to come. The process of separating the township, separating from Tillmanson Township began in 2014, long before this current board took office. The then Republican board recognized that the longstanding relationship between the two townships needed to come to an end. This recognition was based on creative thinking, facilitated by sound financial management and experience that was the hallmark of the previous township commissioners and their staff. Beginning in or around 2014, Upper Gwynedd Township, in concert with Tillmanson Township, jointly funded a study. The study analyzed the condition of the old plant and cost of upgrading it to today's standards. That study also revealed alternatives that were available to Upper Gwynedd. These alternatives included the expansion of Upper Gwinned's plant on Township Line Road and the construction of approximately 5 miles of force main to deliver the flow to the township's plant. Upper Gwinnett Township negotiated an agreement with Tillmanson that gave Upper Gwinnett Township the adequate time it needed to complete the planning, design, permitting, and ultimately the construction of the diversion. What is particularly interesting is that in their campaign for this election, for their election in 2017, the current commissioners, Liz McNanny and Denise Hull, opposed this project. This opposition was largely based on a complete ignorance of the facts. They had not attended any of the public meetings where this project was publicly discussed, nor did they apparently read any of the reports and studies that were available during the township's planning phases. It is important for the record to correctly credit the previous Board of Commissioners and their staff for a job extremely well done. This decision was creative, bold, and sound. It will likely prove to be one of the most important decisions ever made by the Township of Upper Gwynedd, and I just wanted to clear that on the record. Thank you.
Tom,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. The prior board was in charge of all of the planning and the details. When we came on board, we were more about implementing their plans that they had come up with. That's absolutely true, and we've never said otherwise. I'm not going to go into tit for tat about what happened during our election. Some of your facts are a little skewed, but that's your opinion, and you're absolutely fine in sharing what your opinion is. But absolutely, we have always given the board credit. They were invited to the ribbon cutting and to all the festivities. They always have been, and we definitely have appreciated all of their input that has made the WIP project what it is today, actually.
I'm just commenting on a newspaper article. That's why I said I wanted
Okay.
to clear the record.
Yes.
Because that's what the
Okay.
article said. That,
Well, that's great. I'm glad you
Yeah.
did that because
Yeah.
we absolutely agree with you with that.
And I'd clear up that when Denise and I were running in 17 for this, and of course, we didn't come on board until 18, when we questioned it, we had read everything. And we were asking about the financials. We were asking about the money and how it was going to be paid for. We were never opposed of it. We were asking financial questions. Is it grants? Are you going to raise our taxes? How is this going to be paid for? And that was what we focused on. And I don't know if this article that you're referring to reflects any of that, but in meeting minute notes and whatnot. Now, back then, you can't go back and rewatch the videos of meetings because that wasn't started until 2020. And all the information that you get on the agendas now in the minutes where you can click on it and link, that wasn't in place either. So it's really hard to go back to show you everything because it didn't exist way back then when we were first on the board. It wasn't until 2020 when we made these changes. But I wish it was so you could see what we were asking the board at that time. And it was a question, a financial question, which I think we all had the right to know. And people should ask us questions. And now you can see in our memos that the impact that it would have on the budget, how much it's going to cost us with different things. And if that was available to us, then it would have been a whole different approach and a different way we would have, been asking questions than than maybe the way we did, because we didn't have that information. And even in the reports and everything that we read, there wasn't information in there yet.
There was
So-
no information on,
How we were going to pay for it just yet?
No, yeah.
There wasn't. And so there was, Merck was involved and different other people were involved in it, and they were applying for grants, and there was just a whole process involved in it. So we were asking questions as residents, just like you, because we wanted to know where our tax dollars were spent. So that's just a little clarification on all of that.
I understand.
Okay, thank you.
But I've read some of the minutes that took place back then, and I don't believe what you just said is very true.
Well, I'm sorry, that's
That's
okay.
absolutely, that's your prerogative, Tom. That's your prerogative. Did you have
Okay.
anything else this evening?
No, that's quite enough.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our consent items. Do we have a motion to approve consent items A through F? We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any board comments? Any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call, please?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have a proclamation declaring June 19th as Juneteenth Day in Upper Gwinnett Township, which I would like to read on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. Proclamation recognizing June 19th, 2022 as Juneteenth Day in Upper Gwinnett Township. Whereas our country is made up of people from every nation on earth who are declared equal not only in freedom but also in justice, both of which are essential for a healthy human civilization. And whereas our nation was conceived on July 4th, 1776, with the Declaration of Independence, the classic statement being, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." And whereas at 2 p.m. on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1863, using his war powers as president, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, providing that all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state shall be thenceforward and forever free. The Emancipation Proclamation made the permanent abolition of slavery a Union war aim and provided the legal framework for the emancipation of nearly all 4 million slaves as the Union armies advanced. Hearing of this proclamation, many slaves escaped to Union lines as the Army units moved south. And whereas on June 19, 1865, almost 2.5 years later, Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of both the Civil War and slavery. His announcement reads, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts, and they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. And whereas Texas began the celebration of Juneteenth in 1866 with community events such as parades, cookouts, prayer gatherings, musical performances, and historical cultural readings. Some communities purchased land for Juneteenth celebrations, such as Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas. As freed families emigrated from Texas to other parts of the United States, they carried the Juneteenth celebration with them. And whereas Al Edwards, a freshman state representative, put forth the House Bill 1016, making Texas the first state to grant this emancipation celebration. And whereas on January 1st, 1980, Juneteenth became an official Texas state holiday. Since then, 48 other states and the District of Columbia have also declared it an official holiday. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2022 as Juneteenth in Upper Gwinnett Township, proclaimed this 24th day of May, 2022. I am proud and honored to officially recognize Juneteenth as an important day in our nation's history with my fellow commissioners. I am thrilled that in Upper Gwinnett Township, Juneteenth, June 19th, will officially be celebrated as a holiday this year. Do we have a motion to approve the proclamation declaring June 19th as Juneteenth in Upper Gwinnett Township?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Yes. Sure. Can you come to the mic and say your name again? We just have to do that for the minutes and because virtually they can't hear you.
Just as a clarification, because I don't, you mentioned so many states have already adopted that.
48.
Is Pennsylvania one of those?
Yes.
Is it necessary for the township to do that when the state already has? Not that
Yes. We feel like it's a new enough recognition and a not well enough known recognition that it is an important place to land for our township.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Was curious about that.
Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Also, here's an interesting fun thing related to Juneteenth. At our local library, North Wales, so it's not in the middle of Upper Gwynedd, but it kind of is because we surround it, we hug it, as Commissioner McNaney would say. They are hosting a Juneteenth celebration. It's called Jazzy Juneteenth, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on June 17th. So it's not actually on the 19th, but it's that Friday. And they are advertising live music, vendors, food, and fun. So check it out. We'll definitely share information about it on our social media pages, and feel free to go to the library website for more information. Next up, we have a motion to approve the phone system upgrade. As we talked about at our work session meeting, we're upgrading our phone system in the Township building, and Nate was able to create a significant cost savings for us. Do we have a motion to approve the phone system upgrade for the administration building? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. In 2002, the Board of Commissioners issued an RFQ for Township Engineering Services. Why did I say 2022? Sorry, everybody, that was a typo. Thank you to our solicitor for that. Let me start that again. In 2020, the Board of Commissioners issued an RFQ for Township Engineering Services in which we received 16 submissions for those services. Recently, we interviewed 3 of them with regard to our wastewater engineering services. We believe that Gilmore and Associates will be able to provide us with the full scope of services that we will need as we continue to expand our operations at the plant and in the collection system over the next few years. If you'd like to read up on Gilmore and Associates, their detailed submission is linked to this hyperlink for agenda number 10. As Commissioner McNaney reminded us, we have all the hyperlinks now, so you can get more information about all of this. But especially if you click on to agenda item number 10, there is a very detailed submission from Gilmore and Associates that gives you a great sense of their firm and what their intentions are for the township. Do we have a motion to appoint Alex Dyke from Gilmore and Associates as the engineer for Upper Gwynedd wastewater operations beginning June 1st, 2022, subject to final approval of the terms and conditions of appointment by the solicitor? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Welcome. Next up, I am going to turn it over to our solicitor, Lauren Gallagher, to explain our new flag flying policy.
Thank you, President Hull. As you may be aware, the Supreme Court of the United States recently issued an opinion in a case titled Shirtleaf versus Boston, and I apologize for the first name in that series as I probably butchered it. This case provides guidance to municipalities who wish to engage in constitutionally protected government speech through the flying of flags on township-controlled property. So we have prepared a township policy, which is consistent with the Supreme Court's direction, and that policy reads as follows. Commemorative flags may be flown by Upper Gwinnett Township in association with a ceremony, resolution, or other occasion as directed by the presiding officer. The display of flags is not intended to create a public forum for free expression by the public, but instead reflect an expression of the township as directed by the Board of Commissioners via ordinance, resolution, proclamation, and/or administrative action. So this policy is in a form that is ready for adoption this evening if the board is of a mind to do so.
Does anybody have any questions about that before we move on? Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the township's flag flying policy? We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And a side note for this, we will be raising our pride flag on Wednesday, June 1st at 5:30 in front of our township building. This is the second time we have raised the pride flag for the month of June, and we are thrilled to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community of Upper Gwinnett and to let them know that Upper Gwinnett Township is a safe place for them to live, work, and play. Next up, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Carter.
Good evening, Upper Gwinnett. It has been my pleasure to learn and serve as a public safety liaison with the police and fire departments. April was a very busy month for me. First, I was late to the April workshop meeting so that I could receive 2 well-deserved awards on behalf of the Upper Gwinnett Police Department. And recently, I was asked to participate in the final in-person inspection of the new fire trucks being built by Rosenbauer. You'll see the slides following through of our inspection while we were in South Dakota. As you know, this has been an even harder task on our department because up to this point, everything has been virtually discussed with videos and pictures. I was honored to accompany the Upper Gwinnett Fire Department's new truck committee with Eric, Amanda, Greg, Joey, Zach, and Steve to South Dakota. Once there, the committee members took their jobs very seriously. The binders opened and the inspection began immediately, right from the airport to the factory. Chief Geiger spoke to 2 teams separated by the trucks, the Quint and the Squad. Each team leader reviewed the concerns they had previously discussed prior to the visit, and it was evident that they had already went over the orders with a fine-tooth comb. Chief Geiger knew every aspect of the finances and change orders that had been discussed, and when Rosenbauer tried to change anything, he had his paperwork ready with the dates and times of said discussions. The sales rep, Brian, that's our ladder. They were showing us, yes, the new ladder. The sales rep, Brian, was very helpful and kept us on schedule since we had to squeeze everything in on a tight timeline with the team. From day one, the schedule was set, beginning with inspecting the schematics to pump trials and reviewing the punch list. The team represented Upper Gwinnett well and were determined to receive everything we paid for and being great stewards of the funds given to them to secure the new trucks. The chief was extremely knowledgeable about every aspect of the 2 vehicles. He knew what was ordered and when it was ordered by memory. As a matter of fact, rarely did I notice him having to refer to written material unless it was to discuss with Brian a discrepancy or to provide proof of a discussion or meeting. His continued response to questions was, "I am responsible," to the team at home. The 2 teams were very well versed in the trucks that they were responsible for also. Every day, we were up and out early to the factory. Each night, each team had a debriefing to review the day's inspections, ideas, concerns, and to prepare for the next day. As you can see, they were up, see Eric underneath the truck? They were very tight. The 2 teams were very well versed. The teams reviewed the schematics, the undercarriage, what was ordered, what was there, change orders, painting flaws, lights, and sirens. At one point, it took them 45 minutes to determine what type of lights and sirens. Personally, I didn't even know there were different types of sirens for what kind of call, and the turning signals, and how the turning signals inside the truck were going to be outside the truck. They were extremely detail-oriented. Every small detail, nothing was overlooked. Eric took this time to really do team building. They got to work with tablets, legal pads, and computers. I learned Eric's leadership style. He listens to their opinions, and he has them provide evidence to defend their whys if they wanted to change something. It was so detailed, from the lights, alarms, wheels, the coloring of the trucks, the hoses, the buckets, the different ladders, because there are quite a few different ladders that go on these trucks, and several different hoses. Internal and external turn signals, the water flow, the length of the hoses, the length of the water to the destination, the computer equipment, labeling, and timing of the lights. A few of the reasons that I was also unable to attend the Board of Commissioning meeting, the business meeting that April, is that we worked well into the night. We had to be sure we were on the same page before the next day's meetings. At that time, we were actually still at the factory, and there was a considerable time difference. The chief considered all of us a part of the team, and we all had input. The team also never hesitated to answer my many questions as the Board of Commissioner representative. They took the time to clearly explain what they were doing and why. Every firefighter took time to explain different ideas to me from day one. They were prepared with notes and questions for Rosenbauer as well. It was both exciting and overwhelming. Eric would ask me frequently at the end of each day if I had any questions or concerns. I explained to all of them that it was a learning experience, not just as a commissioner, but as a citizen. The time and energy that our volunteer fire department put into these trucks before, during, and after their shifts is mind-blowing. I enjoyed watching this team play, laugh, encourage, and even disagree as a family. They truly are a second family to their own personal families. I learned this from the work they did while they were in South Dakota on Matt's funeral arrangements. Everything had to be perfect. I think Eric always has 3 phones on, for the Marines, the fire department, and home. I appreciate the citizens of Upper Gwinnett giving me this opportunity to speak for them and to show them the work that our Upper Gwinnett Township Fire Department is doing behind the scenes. The team members took time off from their full-time positions and jobs and time away from their families to attend this inspection. When we left, Eric and the team discussed 124 items that still needed to be fixed, with only 1 being major. Again, the team was at work being diligent and great stewards of the taxpayer dollars just last week when Rosenbauer tried to charge them an additional $15,000. They rose to the occasion, reminding them with dates and times in detail of Upper Gwinnett and how they didn't owe Rosenbauer any additional money for the vendor's mistakes and delays. By the end of the Zoom meeting, due to the efforts of the Upper Gwinnett Township Fire Department, Upper Gwinnett Township came out on top, and Rosenbauer said they would cover all of the additional expenses. Again, I was so privileged to see this work firsthand and am proud to discuss this information with the citizens and hopefully some of the South Dakota team members here tonight. Thank you. And thank you, Eric. Thank you, Amanda, for allowing me to go. It was a pleasure. Eric, you want to add anything?
Well, first off, I've said it once, twice, probably 15 times now. The Board of Commissioners has been fantastic in this project. It's not a project that comes to fruition in a couple days. I build police cars for work. I build fire trucks for fun, and this takes a whole lot more time and effort. And it wouldn't be for the support of the board that we get into this place. I'm also excited to say we had a final inspection virtual walk around today with Rosenbauer in South Dakota with both those trucks. That's the first public picture of those things that have been put out there. So if that's out on the public, that's the first one, and they don't look like that now, okay? They match. That's a big deal, okay?
That's the draft.
So we had that virtual walk around today, and of those 124 items, there's 2 items left to be finished, and they're supposed to be in the plant by the end of this week, and we should be getting shipment early next week, okay? The first thing I said to Brian, our salesman, is let's get them in the state, then let's get them in the county, and then we're getting them in our house, right? That's the step. Hopefully by Friday next week. Keep fingers crossed. We'll see, and we'll certainly be we'll be looking at the transition to get them in service is going to be about a week, hopefully, and that is very, very aggressive. Usually it's about a month to 6 weeks at minimum, but I think our team here at the department is going to be well more than dedicated and ready for these new trucks to be in service. So they're going to work 24 hours a day to make sure that it's black over red trucks riding in Upper Gwinnett Township here before you can think, blink an eye. So again, thank you very much, and we appreciate the support.
Thank you, Megan. Next on the agenda is recognition of Officer Fred Lynch, who was unable to attend tonight. But just to let everyone know, Officer Lynch was recognized by the Department of Pennsylvania Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States and given the John Racco Award for unveiling adherence to the highest ideals of law enforcement in maintaining, preserving, and protecting the lawful rights of all citizens. The award was presented at a recent department meeting by Keith Murray of the Lansdale VFW Post 32. I'll give a hand for Officer Lynch, even in his absence. Also like to recognize our two canines. Both canines, let's see if I get them right. Officer Fury and Officer Gunner worked well in these past couple of weeks. Officer Fury helped find a fugitive, and Officer Gunner helped locate a 5-year-old that was lost. So all of our officers are working extremely hard from both the police department and our Upper Gwinnett Fire Department. So thank you. And finally, number 14, a motion to approve the resolution 15-2022, authorizing the sale of the old fire apparatus, because we're getting new ones, to the Upper Gwinnett Fire Department.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Carter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fire Department. Thank you, Police Department. Next up is Commissioner Damsker.
Yes, item on the agenda, item 15, is a motion to ratify the advertisement of ordinance 2022-03 on amending the zoning map classification for 375 Morris Road from light industrial to institutional, and to set the hearing date for Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Damsker. Next up is Commissioner McNaney.
Thank you. Item number 16 on the agenda is a motion to approve the bid, sorry, you probably can't hear me, the bid for equipment rental for stormwater projects to Floyd F. Hirsch, Inc. in the amount of $309,800. And this was in our budget for this year, for 2022, so there's no impact to our budget for this. So I make a motion to approve the bid.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And item number 17 is a motion to approve Resolution 16, 2022, piggybacking with Payne Township for the 2022 microsurfacing project. So I'd like to make a motion to approve that, piggybacking with Payne.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner McNaney. Next up is Commissioner Simulero.
Thank you. Item number 18, we have a motion to ratify the contract with Reardon Materials Corporation for the biomag system upgrades in the amount of $1,667,500 through CoStar's contract number 016-104. Originally, this was budgeted at $2 million, and it came in at 1.66, so we did save some money on that.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Number 19, we have a motion to approve the purchase of radios and a digital repeater from CoStar's vendor number 000537627 in the amount of $43,495.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in sorry, nope. Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Simularo. Next up, we have our open and paid invoices. Do we have a motion to approve the May 2022 open invoices?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo, Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Do we have a motion to approve the May 2022 paid invoices? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we do.
These paid invoices include the fire truck. It's in there.
It's a big one.
Yes. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's in our paid invoices. That's all.
Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo, Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Do any board members have anything else?
Yes.
Commissioner McNaney?
Shocker. Just a couple things. I've been getting some emails, and I talked to Chief Duffy about this, about when dogs are lost and how we can help if they're not microchipped, that the dogs get.
Yeah.
They asked me if we had some sort of sign-up type of a thing here in the township, and we do. So I went through this with Megan. If you go to the homepage, go to departments, go to police department, and there's forms, well, besides a cute dog, the forms, and on that list, there's a lot of forms about if you're away on vacation and have them look. But this one is the Pet Registry, and it's a form that you would fill out and email it back to Officer Whistler, or bring it back in, and it has, a description of your dog and how to be contacted. So I know the people that I got back to who asked me that were appreciative to know that. So I just thought we would share that tonight to let others know. If you find a blind Frenchie, you don't have to bring them back. Okay. Just kidding. The other thing that I wanted to say, our Unity for Kindness Day was the end of April. Seems like a long time ago. It was a gorgeous day. It was attended by somewhere between 750 to 1,000 people. We had food trucks, we had music, we had entertainment, we had kids' activities and different vendors there. It was a fabulous day, and I think and I hope the board, if you wanted to add something else to that, but it was just a lovely, lovely event, and it was our second year of having it, and we look forward to next year. Food truck vendors need to be reserved now because they fill up so fast, so we hope to have it back, maybe bigger and better next year. But I would like to thank Sarah Priebus and Leah Getty for putting on such a great event. And yesterday, I can't leave this one out, we had our golf tournament. It was a sold-out event. It was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay to see, but who won? Which group won?
Well, it was Tom Duffy, a former commissioner. It was two of our planning commission members, Ken Weirman and John Tierney. And it was also our favorite bagel man, Tim Karamu. I always pronounce his name. Karamis. Karamis, thank you. He was part of there, and actually, this is the second time that Tim has won. I'm sure all of those guys have won before. They are amazing golfers,
Yeah, it was fun to watch them.
and they had a really great time.
Yeah, I think everybody.
Everybody did.
It was a great event. Eric, you're quiet.
We didn't win.
But you're going to get new trucks. So I just, again, want to thank Sarah and Leah for their hard work. We had great raffle prizes. It was a perfect day. Isaac, yeah, maybe not for you with my boys golfing with you, but.
The weather was great, yeah.
I noticed you were driving the cart, not any of them. Anyway, it was just a nice day. It was a great event. And again, I'd like to publicly thank Sarah and Leah for all their hard work with that.
Excellent. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming out this evening, and meeting is adjourned.